citizens of Imagination Land, we have distinguished guests from the world beyond. Hello.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at the most mind-blowing crossovers across all mediums, from film to TV to games to comics.
Hey fellas.
Is he in black and white?
Where's that wind coming from? We're in a basement.
Number 20. Alien vs Predator. In November 1989, Dark Horse published the first Alien vs Predator comic. The idea of a cinematic crossover seemed more probable the following year when a xenomorph skull appeared in Predator 2. After over a decade in development hell, the deadly extraterrestrials finally clashed on the big screen. Regarding the alien action, the film delivered a foreboding environment and gore that pushed the PG-13 rating to its absolute limits. While the humans are mostly collateral damage, we got at least one memorable heroine in Lex, whose unlikely alliance with the Predator makes one of the most compelling elements. Whether you waited years for this crossover or this was your introduction to both franchises, it united all fans of creature features. Number 19. The Uncanny X-Men and the New Teen Titans. Despite their long-standing rivalry, Marvel and DC have occasionally collided. Amalgam Comics briefly served as a middle ground, merging their characters into hybrids. On a storytelling level, nothing tops 1982's team-up between the X-Men and Teen Titans. Penned by Chris Claremont, this one-shot sees Darkseid revive the Dark Phoenix with our young heroes caught in the middle. In DC Comics A Visual History, historian Matthew K. Manning named this, quote, one of the most well-received crossovers of its time, or of any time. Although a sequel was planned, conflicts between the comic companies led to its cancellation along with a JLA Avengers crossover. Of course, the Justice League and Avengers finally assembled 2 decades later, and we can only hope the X-Men and Titans reunite someday. Number 18. Freddy vs. Jason. New Line and Paramount had been discussing a mashup between Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees since the late 80s. Even after Freddy popped up in Jason Goes to Hell, we had to wait another 10 years. For slasher fans, it was a dream, or nightmare, come true.
Until then, I'll let Jason have some fun.
Awake or asleep, nobody is safe as the arena changes from Elm Street to Camp Crystal Lake to the dream world to reality. The story cleverly utilizes its titular characters as our teenage protagonist must rely on Jason to defeat Freddy while trying not to get caught in the crossfire. Obviously, most of them do, but that's what we're here for, right? While we never got a theatrical sequel, Ash would eventually join the fight in the comics. Groovy. Number 17. The Jimmy Timmy Power Hour.
It's not Timmy, it's Jimmy! Jimmy Neutron!
Of all the Nickelodeon properties, The Fairly Odd Parents and Jimmy Neutron might seem like the most unusual pairing. One is 2D animated while the other is 3D. One is grounded in magic, the other abides by the laws of science. Improbable science, but still science.
By wrapping this wire tightly around this metal crown and attaching it to this power source, I can create an electromagnetic coil!
For all their differences, these two shows fuse surprisingly well in a crossover that effectively uses their respective premises and ensembles. The special is full of inventive details like changing the number of fingers Timmy and Jimmy have when they switch universes.
Hey, why is everything so bulgy? Ah, who cares?
The writing captures the spirit of each show, balancing the best of both worlds. The crossover was such a ratings hit that it inspired a trilogy, although the original packs the most power.
Thanks, boy genius. Don't mention it, average kid who no one understands.
Number 16. Scooby Natural, Supernatural.
You're a cartoon! I'm a cartoon!
From the Harlem Globetrotters to Courage the Cowardly Dog, it'd take too long to list everybody the Scooby Gang has encountered. Their best crossover is arguably with the Winchester Brothers. The addition of Sam and Dean adds a cynical edge to the Scooby-Doo formula, although this doesn't come off as out of place.
Are you wearing a nightgown? It's called a sleeping robe. Between you and me, it's freaking comfortable.
For all the in-jokes and not always kid-friendly references, you get the sense that the people involved have a genuine affection for Scooby-Doo. This shines through in the animation, voice talent, and a classic mystery with a few twists. The title Scooby Natural alone epitomizes why this was such a natural pairing. The real mystery is why it took 13 seasons for this to happen. But we are never too old for more Scooby-Doo.
Just play along here. Play... There are no words in this newspaper, Dean.
Number 15. Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine was far from the MCU's first crossover, nor will it be the last on this list.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
All right, well, I'm sort of on the tick-tick, so upsy daisy.
Yet, it stands out as one of the most unique. Not only did it unite the definitive live-action versions of two comic icons, but the film also provided a proper farewell to the Fox era of X-Men. The team-ups aren't restricted to mutants, as Chris Evans' Johnny Storm, Jennifer Garner's Elektra, and Wesley Snipes' Blade all make significant appearances. Although some cameos are played for laughs, others offer an unexpected sense of closure. As stacked as the cast is, the film doesn't lose sight of its titular duo. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are the key to this crossover success, as both shine in their career-defining roles.
I am soaking wet right now.
Number 14, A Muppet Family Christmas.
That's the way the old year passes.
The Muppets, Sesame Street, and Fraggle Rock franchises have lasted generations. With the rights divided among different companies though, we rarely see these three puppet powerhouses together anymore. Looking back, this crossover truly was a Christmas miracle. From Bert and Ernie making small talk with Doc, to the Swedish chef putting Big Bird on the menu, to home movies of the Muppet Babies, it's a loving celebration of the characters we wouldn't have without the late Jim Henson.
Happy holiday! Happy holiday! Happy holiday! Happy holiday!
As Henson himself watches the gang sing Christmas carols towards the end, it feels like this special captured lightning in a bottle that can never be replicated. We'll just have to settle for rewatching it every year.
Well, they certainly seem to be having a good time out there, Sprocket.
Number 13, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Put the monkey down and your hands up!
Long before cinematic universes and Stan Lee cameos were Marvel's thing, Kevin Smith established the View Askewniverse. Jay and Silent Bob provided a common link throughout Smith's first 4 films before taking centre stage here. On a mission to prevent a Blunt Man and Chronic movie, the duo encounters several familiar faces from Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, and even a few others.
Wood says... What'd I say? What did I tell you? You'd be back in here regurgitating Gordon Wood. But you forgot about Vickers.
Remember when we said Scooby Natural was the best Scooby-Doo crossover? Well, this film might have the second best. Beyond the numerous in-jokes, the film also takes shots at Hollywood and internet culture that aged quite well. Listening to Holden read from a comment section, it's clear that nothing has changed since 2001, except fandoms are even more toxic and superhero crossovers are mainstream.
Well, after X-Men hit at the box office, all the studios started buying up every comic property they could get their dirty little hands on.
Number 12, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Who would be silly enough to believe that? Me.
Universal monsters could be seen as the forerunners to the modern crossover boom. Of all the monster mashers, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein left the greatest impact. As strange as that sounds, this crossover works on multiple different levels. Abbott and Costello of course bring the laughs, but what's surprising is how seriously the actors behind the monsters take their roles. Outside of the 1931 classic, this is the only other time Bela Lugosi played Dracula, bringing the same gravitas to his iconic role. The same goes for Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman, while Glenn Strange again serves as a respectable replacement for Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's monster. This mix of comedy and horror shouldn't work, yet they go together like Jekyll and Hyde.
He's dancing with my girl. So what? I'll show her. Oh, come on.
Number 11, The Simpsons Guy, Family Guy. It's no secret that The Simpsons was an inspiration for Family Guy. In more recent years, you could argue that The Simpsons' humour has grown more Family Guy-esque, so having the two animated families meet wasn't as far-fetched as one might expect. That said, bringing the Griffins to Springfield wasn't without challenges, but the team pulled it off in a TV event that feels cinematic.
Donut. I think you and I are gonna get along just okay.
The animation seamlessly blends these two distinct styles, while the script juggles in-jokes that honour and mock both shows. Along with The Simpsons and Griffins, the crossover finds room for Bob's Burgers, American Dad, and the Flintstones. All that's missing is the Planet Express crew, who would meet The Simpsons a few months later.
Don't mention her hair. Don't mention her hair.
I am so pleased to meet you.
Nice to be here.
Number 10, The Jetsons meet the Flintstones.
Time machine. Now there's a real waste of time. Life is a waste of time.
With shows like Laugh Olympics, crossovers became a Hanna-Barbera staple. Yet it took almost 25 years for the modern Stone Age family to meet the family of the future. You'd think that they would have leaped at this opportunity much earlier, but the Jetsons initially struggled to reach the heights of the Flintstones in the ratings, getting cancelled after just one season. With reruns finding success on Saturday morning, the Jetsons was revived in the 80s, making the ideal time for the future to cross with the past. The results were appropriately timeless, offering a mix of prehistoric and futuristic jokes that can appeal to contemporary viewers. That might be why, when audiences think of cartoon crossovers, this one still immediately comes to mind.
They do look quaint, don't they? Wow! I hope that's not the way our descendants are gonna look.
Number 9. Turtles Forever.
There's no place like home.
What the shell are we doing here?
The Ninja Turtles have met everybody from the Power Rangers to the Dark Knight. Turtles Forever remains the green standard, however. When TMNT first hit the scene, few could have predicted it'd still be around 25 years later. By 2009 though, it had already produced 2 animated series with different tones, but the same essential ingredients. The Turtle teams joined forces in this crossover, which ranges from hilarious to epic.
Crud! Why'd Casey have to see us in this stupid van?
The technical term is stupid party wagon.
Turtles Forever doesn't stop there, revisiting the franchise's comic roots. Multiverse crossovers are all the rage now, but in 2009, we rarely saw one on this scale with such effort thrown into the production. It might be a stretch to say the film directly inspired the modern crossover boom, but it was well ahead of the curve.
Source Dimension? Source Turtles!
Number 8. Godzilla vs. Kong. Mothra, King Ghidorah, Bambi, these are just some of the foes that have gone up against Godzilla. In the kaiju genre though, Godzilla's stature is only matched by Kong. While 1962's Kong vs Godzilla is enjoyable, the premise was overdue for an update by the 21st century. The Monsterverse took its time building to the crossover fans wanted the most. Godzilla vs Kong didn't disappoint, roaring onto the screen with vibrant visuals and action that makes you feel the weight of these characters. Not only the physical weight, but the emotional weight, as Kong embarks on a journey of discovery. Kong is something of an underdog here, but he holds his own against Godzilla and emerges as an essential ally when Mechagodzilla shows up. Number 7. Imagination Land, South Park.
Hop aboard, kids! I have something to show you!
With so many properties under one corporate umbrella, wide-scale crossovers have become commonplace in projects like the Lego Movie. The Imagination Land trilogy predated this trend, although Matt Stone and Trey Parker didn't care if their parent company owned the characters on display. From Jack Skellington to Ronald McDonald to Snarf, nothing the imagination could conjure was off-limits. Good thing that parody falls under fair use.
Man, I do not want to meet the kid that dreamt those things up.
Although Imagination Land is a parody that subjects countless beloved figures to unspeakable torment, it also leaves us with a newfound appreciation for these characters. They may be imaginary, but they've influenced more lives than most real people. As adult-orientated as South Park is, the trilogy takes us back to our childhoods when any crossover seemed possible in our imaginations.
Imagination.
Number 6. Arrowverse Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Time for preparation is past. The crisis is now upon us all.
Holy crimson skies of death!
The Justice League has seen plenty of crossovers, from the DCAU to the long-awaited Snyder Cut. No DC title generates more excitement than Crisis on Infinite Earths. The legendary crossover comic received a 3-part animated adaptation in 2024, but the Arrowverse's take might be the most ambitious version yet.
Whoever you are, I'm just a guy working on his farm.
You'll always be my greatest enemy.
This event spanned 5 of the CW shows airing at the time. It didn't stop there. The Arrowverse expanded its reach to include old favourites like Burt Ward as Dick Grayson, Tom Welling as Clark Kent, and the late Kevin Conroy as a live-action Bruce Wayne. The DCEU's Flash even meets Grant Gustin's Barry Allen. For all the cameos, the crossover keeps track of the core Arrowverse characters, defining this TV universe at its peak.
What the hell is this?
I'm asking myself the same question.
Number 5. Kingdom Hearts 2.
Perfect! I'd better get down to business.
Between House of Mouse and Once Upon a Studio, Disney has no shortage of crossovers to choose from. None make fans part of the experience like the Kingdom Hearts games, however. Plus, how many Disney crossovers have Final Fantasy characters too? Kingdom Hearts 2 remains the most revered entry, taking players to worlds they had been eager to see like the Beast's Castle and the Pride Lands.
It's time you dealt with Belle. She's scheming to take everything you have.
Going a step further, the game introduces locales we didn't even think were on the table, such as Port Royal from Pirates of the Caribbean and the computerized realm of Tron. Even if you struggle to follow the increasingly complicated story, the player understands every emotion, with protagonist Sora serving as an anchor, becoming an icon among icons.
Okay, we get the hint.
Number 4. Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Great, it's just some random guy. Hello?
Following in the footsteps of Into the Spider-Verse, No Way Home united 3 generations of live-action Spider-Man. While it would have been easy to bank on nostalgia alone, it's remarkable how many character arcs are given satisfying payoffs. After their respective tenures ended on underwhelming notes, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield received the closure they deserved. Several fan-favourite villains came along for the ride, but No Way Home isn't merely about looking back. In his best performance as the character to date, Tom Holland's Peter Parker is pushed to darker, more adult places that put his power and responsibility to the test. The filmmakers cherry-picked the best elements of all the live-action Spider-Man movies, finding just the right balance of old and new.
You're in so much pain, huh?
I am.
Yeah.
Number 3. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Let's go.
For years, Melee was seen as the definitive Smash Bros. Even Melee's most die-hard fans have to admit that it's hard to outdo a game that gathers every character from the franchise's storied history, not to mention several newcomers. The opening cinematic, in which the mysterious Galeem seemingly vaporizes the characters, marked a pivotal moment in gaming that had every player at a loss for words. Thankfully, these characters aren't beyond saving, and this was just the original roster. Persona 5's Joker, Banjo-Kazooie and Sora are only a few other fighters who would later join. Living up to its title, we'd say this is the ultimate Nintendo crossover, but to call it anything less than the ultimate video game crossover would be a disservice. Number 2. Avengers: Endgame.
Oh, God.
What's up, regular size man?
Remember when we thought the MCU would never be able to top having 6 Avengers in one movie? Not to undermine that film's massive achievement, but with Infinity War and especially Endgame, we saw just how far the MCU had come in several years. Unlike some other cinematic universes, the MCU understood the importance of fleshing out every major character, making it all the more impactful when they assemble.
On your left.
Few theatrical experiences are more exciting or crowd-pleasing than the opening of the portals, kicking off a finale with one emotionally gratifying moment after another. Telling an interlocking story with dozens of characters is harder than some artists give the MCU credit. Endgame is a testament to the MCU's endurance and how it changed crossovers forever.
Will you keep that a little quiet? Didn't bring one for the whole team.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honourable mentions. The Day of the Doctor, the 10th and 11th Doctors together at last.
Oh, he's cool. Isn't he cool? I'm the Doctor and I'm all cool. Oops, I'm wearing sand shoes.
What are you doing here? I'm busy.
That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana. Props to the Disney Channel employee who came up with that title.
You're Hannah Montana! And you're wearing cake. Vanilla, my favorite.
X-Cops, The X-Files. Sci-fi and reality TV really aren't that different. Infestation. G.I. Joe, Star Trek, Transformers and Ghostbusters all in one comic crossover. Ben 10, Generator Rex, Heroes United. A 10 out of 10 crossover that goes up to 11.
But I have no clue what's even happening here.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Idiot. I got no keys for these cuffs.
With all the crossovers we've gotten since 1988, you'd think Roger Rabbit would lose some of its magic. Over 35 years later though, this marriage of live action and animation continues to wow us. Its longevity can be attributed to the well-crafted story and revolutionary effects that still hold up, but much of the film's charm does come from the world it creates. A world where toons from different Hollywood studios live together in harmony and loony anarchy.
Going up, sir. Mind the steps, sir.
There may never be a sight more mind-boggling than Donald and Daffy Duck engaging in a piano duo or Mickey Mouse parachuting alongside Bugs Bunny. The film has inspired worthy spiritual successors like Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, but crossovers like Roger Rabbit come once in a lifetime. So, what do you think is the ultimate crossover? Let us know in the comments.
Let's just agree to stay a half hour away from each other.
With a pile of garbage between us.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.